Good evening, John Augustine here, Bishop Joseph E. Strickland. Light. It's the light that I like. He has another word there that I don't use and never come across it, so I ignore it. Now, we talked about marriage and marriage for life. And so he mentions in the course of his ideas about or his proper attitude towards it that the culture is a throwaway culture, and um, and it sometimes comes into the business of couples getting married. They have the best intentions when they get married, and then they come into difficulties or the reality of what it is. They think it's going to be a bed of roses, and there's ups and downs, and situations arise. But he doesn't mention one thing. He talks about preparation and so on and so forth, and hard times. But I think the fundamental thing is that, and he formed them, but the one basis that I didn't hear him saying, which I sort of would emphasize, and that is respect. Respect, the respect aside from the love business. That can be overdone. There's too much of that kind of stuff knocking about, and it's a kind of nearly a selfish thing in some ways. You love God, you love your neighbour. But marriage is a great gift. But if the couples respect each other and know what it's about. Now, Bishop Strickland mentions about the family, and if it's a good family, if it's a practicing Catholic family and the husband and wife nourish the children, that's grand. But there's not too many homes like that, even Catholic homes. That's the reality as well. So you can be tarnished by some bad experience that you have growing up, and there's no gainsaying that. That can happen because you sometimes you might see the fathers and mothers are not dealing with issues the way that they should, that type of thing, and children are very observant, and the worst thing that all is a couple arguing when children are, even if we're in bed, we can hear it. So the first thing is respect, and that's the fundamental thing. And he even says that when he was talking to couples and married the Catholic boys, they had the best of intentions and all the rest of it, but it ended in divorce. And the general culture, it's the same thing. It's like the disposable business, and it's not a great recipe. And he mentions that the evil one, Satan, hates marriage and is doing all to try and destroy it because it's the fabric of society. It's the civilization. It's based on the family. But you'd be surprised the number of governments trying to interfere, including our own government in Ireland. Coming up with a referendum in the 8th of March, and I'm sort of recommending vote no because they're trying to say change the idea of marriage and not in a good way. But I hope people are not so deluded in this country as to vote for what they propose. And I'm sort of recommending any little influence I have. No. And so is everybody else, including a former justice minister in this country and an attorney general. In other words, knows the law inside out. And one of the more best legal minds in the country, Michael McDowell, a former justice minister in the government. He represented the Progressive Democrats, and he was good. But he spoke recently and described these referendums as completely against everything, and shouldn't be supported whatsoever. So I'm digressing because this is the attack on the family. It's a form of that in this country even, and so this is where it's usually coming from people that have an agenda. You have it in the United States, but Bishop Strickland is a great voice for common sense and supporting the family. And one great thing that he does, have an annual mass for couples that are married 5 years, 10 years, and longer. And he mentioned a couple that was married 75 years and still on the and he asked him, what sustained you? How did you manage? And the answer was, well, when we got married, we were married for life and we're still here. And he thought it was very good. And he mentioned there was an East Texas kind of man or butcher. It's common throughout the world, Bishop Strickland. It's not unique to any part. It's a great witness, and I think the business of celebrating Holy Mass once a year for couples married 5 years and 10 years and so on and so forth. And also to sort of try to talk to them and say, have you got a family? Because not everybody can have a family. Sometimes they have to adopt children. And that's the great thing that these ones that promote abortion, the women, if they can't bear the child, it can be put up for adoption. And there's couples waiting for to adopt these children. And it's not promoted by the left wing Democratic Party. They seem to be astray in the head in the United States, and not just them, but in other countries as well. They're trying to do things that are against the family. And but Bishop Strickland says that then when couples are getting married, at least here too, they have to give 6 months notice and get some guidance on it. And I think it helps. Well, it does help because it's not you're not talking about kind of bad times come, because good and bad times do come. Even in your work, these things happen as well. They happen in life, don't they? And they'll happen in marriages. But if the business of the love or the respect and you like the person and you feel we're on the same wavelength, you know that. And sometimes it doesn't always happen then when it's actually going. That you find that somebody is this way and the other that way. But if you get a good preparation by the bishop or priest, because they come from families. Don't just start to think, well, they're single or something. Probably to know about it. You get some yapping about that kind of cardiology. The Catholic faith, it gives a great stability to marriage, providing that the two are going to Holy Mass. And one great thing is that the bishop or Venerable Patrick Peyton, the Rosary priest, he mentioned that the family prays together, stays together. That has to be emphasized. If they say the Holy Rosary every night, our Blessed Mother is going to look after them. There's the ideal family, the Holy Family, Mary, Joseph, and baby Jesus. Must have been a lovely place because Jesus lived with them for 30 years before he went into his ministry. He was missing for 3 days when he made his bar mitzvah at 12 years of age. That's what the Jewish faith. But the bishop is quite right, and he says that sort of thing that he's trying to do is not done in many parishes. It's kind of happy yappy, and that's no way. You've got to speak the truth, and the truth will set you free. So Bishop Strickland has great faith in that type of thing, but I didn't see the word that's fundamental, and he probably does talk about it, but it's not written here in the book, because I read the article, then I paraphrase and I put my own inflection on it based on my own experience. And not everybody can have children, and for one reason or another. And so, but if they can, it's a great gift. And by rights, the husband's income should be enough to sustain the marriage. I've done videos about that. A mortgage shouldn't cost any more than a quarter of a man's wages, so that initially they're probably both working. But then if there's children coming, the mother is the guardian of the family. She's really the bedrock. She's in charge of the home. She sets the tone. She's a great gift to mankind. the woman, the lovely women that are housewives and are in the home. When their children are rare, they can take a part-time job or whatever. But careers is not the most important thing. It's there's ups and downs on that too, and there's jealousy and this, that, and the other. It doesn't be always going along and you're marching up the ladder at night that you have guys, individuals that try and do you down, especially if any ability. It's always the way. Look at Jesus. Look at the great gift to mankind that he was, and yet he was crucified. People loved him, thousands following him, but not the elite, and they're still knocking about, causing harm. But with the Catholic faith and sticking to it, and one thing, the main thing is during Lent, that we're in now, people should abstain from alcohol. They should abstain from smoking if they smoke. That's what they used to do years ago in this country. And give up smoking and drink. There was did both, and were the better for it. But even me, I don't eat. I'm on a fast. When I say a fast, I eat lightly. I just have a cereal in the morning, porridge or whatever, and then at lunchtime I might have a bowl of soup and then a hard boiled egg for my tea, or else I might have a small pizza. You know, you can get them that's not no meat in them, and I would have one of them, and they're small. You get four in a packet, and there's no meat in it, but it's very tasty. And you put it in the oven, and I might put a few little items with a few chips or something, just augment it, but not too much. And that's all I have at lunch. And then in the evening, I just have a couple of, I might have a roll, a roll like not the full roll, and I normally put it in the grill, and I might have just two of them. That'd be half, and put a bit of butter and raspberry jam. Very tasty. So it's satisfying. Now, it doesn't matter what my age, I kind of always at length try to do things right. I don't do things because it's fashion, and some people are not doing that kind of thing. But as Catholics, it's a good thing to do for wherever you happen to be that you're listening to me. Just do those things and say the Holy Rosary at night time. And maybe the Chaplet of Mercy. You should know these things and the Stations of the Cross. You mightn't be able to do them all for one reason or another, your age. Perhaps you have responsibilities with children and that, and your time is not so good. So your little domestic church, you do certain things, and you teach the children. You have maybe a little thing that they can put flowers on or something. Donna Cooper O'Boyle and Nita Etienne. There's something for mums, and it's very good and very practical too, I think. And it gives you satisfaction when you're doing things like that, and you're not letting your humour interfere with what you're doing. You've got to have a steady hand. It's like the captain on a ship. You're the captain of the home. You've got to keep an even keel and not go a bit bananas. Keep cool, calm, collect. That's the way to do it. Children will get up to mischief. We all got up to mischief. My parents had to fork out a few quid here and there when I was young. Uh, Begging somebody want to in house and whatever way. My aim was never good. It went up and the electric wires put out all the lights in the particular area. I cleared off, but by the time we came back, they had to walk out. No, didn't walk out, but they were all given out, and they knew it was me. I don't know how, because there was other young fellas knocking about, but yes, it is. And then another time, we're throwing stones. Because this is what young people do, and we just have to sort of respect and be able to go too. So must have pegged something, but instead of go, it broke a window in a house, a two-story house, so up in Hoot, up what they call the hills there, And I cleared off. By the time we come back, they had to fork out money to repair the window. So it just makes you smile that. But parents were pretty understanding them times. The head wasn't let off me, and that kind of thing. So these are all little memories that you have, and you'd have them as well when you were young. You might forget, but I don't forget because I remember them. And other escapades. Yes, so really. So Bishop Strickland, there's a great voice for reason. Would that there was more like him all over the place, and speaking out that to give the Holy Spirit in their heart and souls and speak the truth. He mentioned something positive about Pope Francis, but he's done him harm. His timer now hasn't got that great Bishop Strickland just lately because they want him to resign. And he's speaking the truth and doing great work. But now he's going to have maybe a wider remit and do good work all over the country in the United States and maybe abroad. I hope he comes here. He's been invited by Catholic Voice magazine to a conference. And, just read up about Ireland. If you do come, Bishop Strickland, you read up about it, and we'd be, it was a great Catholic country, and even in my young days, great practicing night. And everybody was at mass. I didn't know anybody that didn't go, and anyone that didn't go was up to no, they were lost really. But now so many is not going because they did too many changes, and Bishop Strickland knew that, so he come around to the Latin, doing saying mass in the Latin, the universal language of the Catholic faith. So I'm at going on a bit there. So. Bye now, and I'll be doing we hymns after this, and let's talk after that. Bye now.